And look at Jochen Hahn and Antonio Albacete. The two of them go flying through the right-hand side, then the left-hand side. Jochen Hahn around the outside, and Lucas Hahn, no father and son, come together on the exit of turn 1.
And the best thing about this is the fact that it's still a 15-minute sprint race. They've not extended the time of the race. It's still just like, it's going to be, what, 7 laps of
We get to the real nitty-gritty of motorsport. Cranston and Smith are side by side for the title in the very final race of the season. As they go back up the hill towards the Schumacher S. Nils Kor clips the back at 10. Simon Povey clips the side of Nils Kor. They go over the hill and Povey's around. Oh my god, that's going to definitely be the thumbnail when it hit me in the right direction. Thank you so much.
23 cars.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Chaz Draycott Media and welcome to the Evolution Sim Racing GT3 Championships 7th season. And we are here for the Split A race of the two splits. There are Split A and Split B. The other one is broadcast by the wonderful duo that is Joe Glass and Dara Thacker. They're over on the B split race, and that's because the championship is so popular these days. They have over 100 drivers entered across both splits. Not so much of a massive grid here tonight as we had at the start of the season, so hopefully my PC might actually survive. Just 30 cars registered for this one at the moment, but Ed May in the box with me. We're here at Virginia International Raceway. It's the first time we've ever broadcast here together. Can't remember the last time we actually broadcasted anything here other than maybe the Chaslington Touring Car Championship back in 2018 where we did the Patriot layout. It's this place and it's in the wet. This is going to be hellish, isn't it?
Yeah, it's going to be a nightmare both for the drivers and, well, maybe for your PC. We'll hope, obviously, that it will hang on in there. But, yeah, like you said, it's going to be very difficult for the drivers to contend with raining for the entire duration of the 1 hour race we've got coming up.
Absolutely, and it's going to be a spicy one indeed. Here's a look at the championship standings at present then. It is currently Fraser Smith on top of everything in the elite standings. He has a decent advantage of 14 points over Luke Lucchese with, Tristan Dinabrega in third place. He's not too far ahead of Kevin Poon, who, let's not forget, registered in the wrong car last time out, unbelievably, at Road America, so he did not race there. We then have Yannis Albert in 5th place ahead of Danny Lee in the Mustang. Then it's Luke Van Gortel next up. Matteo Carbonari, he did well at Road America with a 2nd place. Chris Versteinen and Thomas Pugh both had pretty testing times at Road America, and they're going to be hoping to do better than just being on the brink of the top 10 positions. So, Ed, take it away, my friend, with the Pro Class.
Yeah, thank you very much, Chaz. And it is Alex Fretwell who's in the lead of the GT3 Pro standings with some very strong points, didn't he? Getting back up to fine form after the disappointment of Zolder to get 2 podium places, both 2nd places as well. Means that he's able to get ahead of Bobby Trundley, who had, well, a race meeting to forget in 2nd place for Quartermaster Motorsports. The Lamborghini, wasn't working for him, but it shows on the graphic there that he's gone to the Ferrari. Is that a switch for us to be aware of down the line potentially? Chris Jennings there, he stayed in the Porsche and he got a podium and a race victory to his name to get back up into the mix as well, with Jack Wybon in fourth, not far behind. Jason Hodgson in fifth, with Francois Brandet there, just 2 points separating him from the top five. Stephen O'Donnelly close by as well in seventh. We haven't actually seen him last time out, so we'll hope that he's here with us tonight. Matt Hoyland there in eighth, Lawrence van der Voorten and Lawrence Derapper in 10th, rounding out the top 10.
Yeah, it's very, very close all the way up and down, and in the teams championship as well, it's also close. We've got Bobby Trundley and his Quarter Mass Motorsport team leading the way on 423 points, but then if you look at the next three teams, there's only 4 points between them. I think actually, to be fair, that Ferrari is a forfeit car basically for cars that they don't have a picture for at the moment. I thought I'd seen it somewhere before. I'm pretty sure they did it in previous seasons. It's just an Evolution Sim Racing Ferrari GT3 car. As you can see, it's on a different angle to the rest of them. You can hear in the background that practice is finished and qualifying is just going to get underway, but I mean, look how close the team's championship is. It's mad, absolutely mad. And with so many points on offer as well, Ed, teams championships can change drastically from week to week, can't they? Completely under the radar from mere mortals like us that can't do the maths on the fly.
Yeah, definitely. It's great to see it obviously evolve at this early stage of the season. Don't forget, we've not even hit the halfway point. So there's plenty of opportunities for drivers to really work together in that team's championship and see if they can make some inroads, while obviously it's so wide open. You can see as well, drivers really having to get to grips with the circuit in qualifying. And it's going to be interesting actually deciding when the drivers are opting to go out onto the circuit. It looks like it's really only getting wetter. So I think we're going to see a flow of activity at the start, whereas sometimes we see drivers waiting a little while before going out later on in the session.
There's a lot of standing water around this place. It's absolutely everywhere. I'll apologise to the NSX drivers right now. It's the only car that I didn't actually update the onboard cameras for in the week between, with the different audio levels and so on. We ride on board here with Matteo Carbonari in the Mercedes, and you can see just how gloomy it is, but with the undulation here at Virginia, it makes the fact that it's wet even more difficult to deal with. Look at the shiny racing line there with all the rubber on it. Matteo's going off the circuit here, surely. No, manages to keep it on. There's big puddles on the apexes as well. Looks fantastic, does iRacing's wet weather, but goodness me, it is very, very tricky out there. Look at the spray, there's so much of it.
It's horrendous out there. It really is just horrific by the looks of things for the drivers to try and get to grips with, literally struggling to do just that as slamming onto the brakes after that long back straight all the way on the power and then needing to slow it down once more. It's just fighting at every single opportunity. When you've got quite a lot of power, quite a lot of torque in these big V8s, while they can displace the water pretty nicely, it's not going to be the easiest thing to really put the power down out of the slow speeds.
It's definitely not. We'll listen to Matteo Carbonari roar on by. It's like a World War II aircraft, isn't it, the Mercedes? It makes such a brilliant noise. So too does the Porsche. This is Chris Jennings, and even he in this thing is having a little bit of traction issue by the look of it. The amount of spray there being kicked up from the back is mighty, to say the least. It's all the puddles on the apexes that I still can't get over. Obviously, there's a very shiny, rubbered-in racing line, but even then, you know, the drivers don't want to be too much over the curbs, so you're not really going to be surprised to see too many puddles, but look at them splash when they hit them. I know when they go past under this bridge here, you'll see a splash on the right-hand side of shot. Watch this. There. Big splash on the right as all the spray gets kicked up in the air. That's a really cool thing that iRacing does as well. But this is a commitment circuit in the dry, isn't it, Ed? And a lot of it very one line through these windy bits. But goodness me, in the wet as well, it's just going to be complete, well, clench your armour.
I think that's the best way to put it, Chaz. Is, again, we're not really seeing the drivers push too hard and in qualifying. It's going to be difficult to know exactly where the pace is going to be. Thankfully, of course, this wet race is... since the most recent patch in iRacing, there was sort of almost a glitch, wasn't there, in the system where it was not rendering the same level of sort of standing water from one driver to another. It was, I think, actually calculating based on when the drivers had joined the session individually rather than from when the session was being calculated. So it was mainly done on a client-side basis, but now it is the same for everyone, which hopefully means should be nice and even playing field. I think the reason as well we wouldn't have noticed it last time out because the rain came mid-race, so everyone would have had the rain arrive at the same time for them, and it wouldn't have affected. It's mainly if you're in sort of team sessions where obviously you join partway through and there's standing water from before you join the session, essentially.
Fraser Smith puts his first time on the board, so too does Matteo Carbonari, but it's Chris Jennings actually in the Porsche that's quickest out of absolutely everybody at the moment. He's doing very well. Tristan Dinabrega goes quickest by over a second, even from Danny Lee as well. We look here at the Lamborghini of Raz Harper, and he's having to razz it about here to keep it on the straight and narrow. This is a car that's difficult to drive in dry conditions also, in the wet as well, with all of that weight behind it. Not easy to get right. Alex Fretwell might be in the right place here, because I've heard the McLaren's quite good in the wet, actually. Apparently it's supposed to be quite a stable platform, considering that usually the McLaren GT cars have always been very twitchy and very oversteery. Seems like for Alex, he might have it under control. He's got the big Michelin tyre rating on that thing, so it makes the wheels look huge. He's got the endurance lights on the front of it as well. You can see all the shiny parts of the circuit that they're trying to avoid. Here's Victor van Zeist in the Porsche. Whoa, you could hear him getting off the throttle there just to try and glide the car through. Not many of the pro drivers out tonight. We've got mainly a field of elite drivers. And we have 30 cars as opposed to the 50-odd that we had at the start of the season. We've got a car off. It's Marcel Breitenbach, and wow, he's very off in the Corvette. Not envying him right now driving this thing. But yeah, he's gone for a bit of a ride there. Very off the track. And back on, hoping to recover. That's just in a straight line.
I was going to say, Chaz, what's your favourite saying? I need further than have to pay to get back in. That was, very, very extreme. Just the wetness affecting the Corvette. I know you mentioned the, not Mercedes, the McLaren being good in the wet. We did actually notice, though, it was Alex that struggled a lot at Zolder when the rain came down, and it was the Porsches around him that seemed to really take advantage of it. At the moment, Tristan Dinabrega fastest in the Honda NSX, but the Porsches are, well, it appears to be the favoured car in these tricky conditions.
Seems like the sun's trying to come out a little bit here. Malcolm Coates clearly struggling with the Corvette at this point. Tristan Dinabrega goes even quicker. Now over a second faster than everybody else. 7 thousandths of a second in it for Lawrence van der Water. It's typical that he's fastest, isn't it, in the rain. With Donnelly in second position and then Wyborn in third. Less than a tenth of a second between the three. Wyborn going up over the top of the hill. That flat out section is so terrifying because you're coming up to a corner that's over a crest. So you've got to get it properly stopped while not being able to see the apex. The shape of this corner reminds me of Turn 3 at Road Atlanta. You can sort of always try to guess where it is, and it's like somebody moves it every lap. Even then, loads of corrective oversteer. Not enough by Stephen Donnelly, it seems. Still a few drivers not put times in yet. Gilles Philipparts is waiting. Kenyon goes quickest by 12 thousandths of a second. There's less than 200ths of a second separating the top three in the pro class, and Martin has got that Lamborghini to the top spot. Now Jack Wyborn says have some of that. He's gone third quickest overall as Jack Wyborn. Look at that for a time. Very well done by the number 95 driver. Matt Hoyland has a new livery this week apparently for DXT Solar. Where is he at present? 24th overall. Currently in the class, he is in 10th place. I imagine the Mustang's not going to be a car that favours this place in this condition. You can see the rubbered in line. Look at it trying to break away from him there, and even on the puddles. This is not comfortable, this, is it, Ed? Unsure if Ed's disconnected or something for a second here, because we cannot suddenly hear him. Normally, if Ed's had a bit of a mic mute to have a drink, he's right on it, but I think he may have disconnected for a second or something. Hopefully that's not the case, but still, we continue on here at Virginia, and I mean, the Mustang still tries to plough on, but it's definitely not easy by the look of it. Lawrence van der Water goes top again. Francois Brandet is off the road in the NSX, and he goes back to the pits. Luke van Gortel goes quickest for MJK Sim Racing. Luke was involved in an unfortunate incident in the previous round of the season, and now gets it all sorted for a potential pole position here. Great effort by him at this early stage. What about Ryan Ottens in the Corvette? He tries to get the power down and get moving. Doesn't look like he's having a good time of trying to keep the Corvette under wraps, or keep it on the straight and narrow anyway. Stephen Donnelly is 5th fastest in the Pro class. Lawrence van der Water currently quickest there, but we have 3 pro drivers in the top 5 at the minute. Incredible, incredible stuff. It's very, very close. But the pro drivers, well, making it look easy. Can confirm that Ed has unfortunately disconnected for just a minute, so he will be back soon. How's Yanis Albert doing? He's also in the NSX, in the Acura. He's done 3 laps so far. This is his 4th and final lap, and whoa, I was going to say what a save, but that's it. That is Yanis's session done with. And as you can see, he's clearly not very happy about it. He's let go of the wheel, and it's just going to go, yep, into a wall. That is not good for Yanis Albert. Eric Verlet received quite a hefty penalty after some of his incidents at Road America, so he'll want to improve from that aspect. He's just going to be doing what he can do in the Mustang. The Mustangs are further down the order. I was going to say Daniel Lee was, well, keeping it on, but he's in the top 10 at the moment, is Danny. 6th place overall, but clearly still finding it quite difficult. Luke King in the Porsche on that shiny rubbered-in line. They have had light rain here, but yeah, they've got an hour's race ahead of them. Here's Kostek Solovic absolutely lobbing the NSX up the hill. Hard onto the brakes, into the left-hander, over the crest. And then back down the hill to where the tree used to be. Matt Hoyland and Francois Brandet were practicing yesterday evening while I was streaming. They actually came in and had a chat with me and then mentioned how they were having a bit of a difficult time. Malcolm Coates is on a lap still in the Corvette. He's the only driver not to have set a time so far. We have 31 drivers, sorry, not 30 for this event tonight. But Malcolm struggling here. Jack Wyborn has gone quickest in the pro class. Jack Wyborn goes quickest by just over a 10th and a half. You can see Malcolm struggling here, and understandably so. The Corvette is twitchy at the best of times. He's still just trying to keep it under wraps. Looks like the sun's trying to break through here. It's a bit glowy. There's a good bit of daylight coming through. Oh, goodness me. Not sure if Malcolm is going to get this lap completed. He's on the edge of it, clearly. He's still got time, though. He's just taking it easy, I think, to get a banker lap on the board. Fraser Smith goes 3rd fastest out of everybody. Sorry, 4th fastest out of everybody. Jack Wyborn is quicker than him at the moment. This is what I love about wet racing conditions, though. It really shows you who the drivers are that know the wet weather and understand the wet weather. We've got 2 different drivers at the top of each class than what we've had so far throughout this season. It's great to see it. You love to see a bit of mixed results and a mixed order. I believe Ed is back with us. Ed, we've got Van Gortel and Wyborn top of the classes at the moment. It's great to see, isn't it?
That's really impressive. Yeah, it's great to have this. Oh, is Malcolm just going for a little bit of a spin? Is that going to be...
He might have kept that, you know.
We'll see if that's going to be his qualifying lap over. He does have one more, though, doesn't he, Chaz? He's
no,
got
this
another
is his last
chance.
one.
Is that his last one?
It is. And... oh, he does do a lap, but it's 7.7 seconds off with that mistake, unfortunately, for Malcolm. So, not the lap he would have wanted. John Breitenbach is hidden so... oh, goodness me. It's the new high-res dashboard of whatever that is. Oh, he's in one of the thingy trucks again. He's inside he's inside that pace truck thing there. I believe, anyway. Oh, no, he's in the ambulance. John Breitenbach is in the ambulance. You've got to love it. Yeah, we won't be able to see him anywhere, but the rain is still coming down. That's the important thing here. It is still raining here at Virginia. But look how bright it is at this side of the circuit. The sun is coming out, and we could have some very interesting conditions here, Ed, where it dries up as time goes on. That's the wrong pit lane, Francois. It's like the early 90s when they didn't have pit lane speed limiters. Flying through. I really do like this livery, actually, on Francois' car. Teamed up with the yellow headlights. It looks brilliant. He's going to give us a bit of a show. Oh, goodness me.
Yeah, it was...
Off into the woods. That was pretty aggressive, to say the least.
Yeah, abrupt, I think, is a good way to put it, that one. That was very sudden. Malcolm Coates, Rage Against the Game esports, starting from the back, but sometimes it's going to be good in the wet to be a little bit further back, because then you can see where the wet patches are, see where the drivers are struggling, and you can adapt your line in real time to what's sort of well in front of you, what you can see, really. So that's going to be exciting to follow his progress up through the field potentially. Obviously, as well, what an exciting grid, though, isn't it, Chaz, we've got on hand? Luke Van Gogh and Tristan Dinneberger on the front row.
Yeah, indeed. Indeed. Some great drivers up at the front there, showing great talent in these wet weather conditions and a nice mixed grid. That's why we love wet weather racing. Luke Van Gortel takes pole position for MJK Sim Racing A, with Tristan Dinneberger alongside him. Jack Wyborn leads the pro drivers third on the grid overall, ahead of Fraser Smith, the championship leader. Then it's Lawrence van der Water in fifth, ahead of Martin Kenyon in sixth. 3 elite drivers and 3 pro drivers on the front 3 rows of the grid. That's awesome to see. Jean Breitenbach is next up with Luke Lucchese alongside him. Then it's 2 pro drivers, Chris Jennings and Stephen Donnelly. Daniel Lee is 11th with Kostek Slavij alongside him, the Polish driver, on row 6. And it's Luke King and Kevin Daniels. Luke's teammate right behind him, Ryan Ottens, there in 15th, ahead of Alex Fretwell in the McLaren. Then it's Raz Harper and Matteo Carbonari. Dean Powell and Francois Brandet complete the top 20. Following them is Kevin Pone. Look at that as well. Kevin was very under the radar in that session. Hasn't had a lap time anywhere near competitive. 2.9 seconds off. Marcel Breitenbach is next up with Lawrence de Dapper and Yanis Albert down in 24th place as well. Victor Van Zeist and Kaz Brinkhausen, another driver that's usually right at the front. Robert Bakker and Matt Hoyland. Eric Verlet and Gilles Philipparts. And then Malcolm Coates completes the 31 car field. And it's interesting to see here that at Virginia they start from the pit lane. I quite like that. I really like that.
Actually, that's quite neat, isn't it? Starting from the pit lane for the pace lap.
I really like that. Very, very big fan of that. You can see windscreen wipers on. Everybody waiting to get going. We sit here with Matt Hoyland in the Mustang. And as you see, it's a bit of a miserable place to be, this, as all the cars will dawdle their way around. Yeah, like I said before, though, I've updated a lot of the in-car cameras for the GT3s, and as you can imagine, with there being 10 manufacturers now, there's a lot of cameras to update. So a lot of them will look like this. The dashboard will be all lovely and sharp. Outside will be a little bit blurry, and the audio will have been turned down. But unfortunately, the NSX is as it was, and yeah, the audio is a lot louder. So we won't be going on that particular camera with the NSX. It'll be always outside views with that, I'm afraid. But Luke Van Gortel, a lot of pressure riding on his shoulders now. Francois Brandet is in the pits and also in the YouTube chat. He said, guess who forgot to refuel and effectively missed the start changing the setup?
Oh dear. That is suboptimal.
Yes.
I think is the right way to put that one.
But in French. I don't know, I'd say suboptimal in French. Optimal de la sub. Probably something like that.
Oui.
Simon Price saying, this weather on this track, better them than me. Yeah, same. That's why I'm glad I'm a broadcaster in times like this, because I wouldn't want to be out there in these conditions.
No. Yeah, I think you and me both, it would be really quite horrendous to be out there right now. You can see as well, look at that standing water under the bridge. It's going to be so tricky. And again,
look at that puddle there.
On the outside of the puddle, as you're then trying to put the steering lock on through this left-hander. Drivers will really need to be aware of that. If you make one little mistake, you're going to be just sailing off in the barriers, especially through here. They kind of just jump out at you at points. While there is obviously ample runoff at Virginia, most corners, there are areas where the barriers are looming pretty close.
Yeah, definitely. It's weird. In places, you know, it's got a vibe of, I don't know, somewhere like... I'm trying to think now. I'm trying to think
They
of
like the outfield of like Snetterton, especially turn 1.
Yeah,
Snetterton.
Yeah, I was trying to think of another circuit with as much runoff as a place like this, but I don't think there is one. But then again, at the same time, you've got like here, like British club racing circuit vibes, where you've only got a little bit of grass and then a wall. No fancy concrete runoffs really, other than that section there. So, yeah, the drivers are going to have to be really, really on it tonight. They've been warned about leaving excessive gaps on the start as well. There was an incident last time out at the start-finish line. I think I saw that there was, I think it was Ashley Brooks had left a gap in the previous race, gone to speed up. There was a big check-up at the start because other people had tried to leave gaps as well. Cars then had to avoid each other. It was then a big incident, and it's all just a bit of a mess that you don't need really with that sort of thing. So hopefully the guys keep it all nice and tidy this time, and hopefully it's kids and grown-ups love it so with Stephen Donnelly and the JSD Racing team. Big shout out to Joe Shapara, by the way, as well, who jumped onto my Gran Turismo stream last night. Came to say hello. But this is nerve-wracking times now. It's a long goal pace lap, this, isn't it, Ed? These guys have had a long time to think about how this start's going to go.
Yeah, but it might help the drivers at least get to grips with the track surface as well, with all of the drivers out on track, 30 cars just displacing a little bit of the water. Here we go, Chaz. Now it is Luke Van Gortel setting the pace.
Absolutely is. Luke Van Gortel starts on pole position for round 4 of the Evolution Sim Racing GT3 Championship Season 7 Split A. He's checked everybody up nicely at the start. The lights come on and he is still not gone. Now he's gone. Luke Van Gortel leads us away then. Tristan de Nobrega slots in. Jack Wyborn still leads the way in the pro class. Let's keep an eye on the background as everybody tries to navigate their way through the spray. Very tidy. Very well behaved by everybody here by the look of it in the opening corners. Here's Matteo Carbonari, McLaren next to him. Loads of spray being kicked up ahead, but look how tiptoey and hesitant they're being. Francois Brandet has joined the race from further down the order. Look at this. It's not even a motor race at this point. It's like another formation lap, Ed.
Treacherous stuff. You can see, like you rightly mentioned, they're tiptoeing around as that was the Lamborghini there, just struggling a touch, wasn't it?
That was teammates hitting each other, actually.
The DD, we're just going to call them the DDK team, I think.
Yes.
So the two DDK cars having a little coming together, but again, easily done when the track is as wet and horrible as it, well, definitely looks there. Again, big twitch from Luke Van Gortel. He leads the way over Tristan de Nobrega by, well, 0.7 of a second. But doesn't necessarily paint the prettiest picture. And he knows that one little mistake, which is easily done in the wet, especially around Virginia International Raceway, he's going to be dropping all the way back. There's a mistake actually for Lawrence De Dapper. He drops it in behind Kaz Brinkhausen. Vraco Esports Team Orange. Car up ahead of him.
Look at the spray up the hill. It's fantastic. There's just this constant stream of spray. Looks absolutely mega. You can't see a thing. It's just so treacherous. There's a car off. It's Kostek Soloviej in the NSX. I wonder if he's had more of an issue as a result. No, he's jumped back to the pits. Soloviej is off and out of this race by the look of it. It's 1 hour-long race here tonight. You don't get 2 chances at this one like you do in others. Luke Van Gortel is off the road, I can see. We'll have a look back and see, but he is off the circuit. And Kostek loses it on the brakes big time. Big hit into the barrier, and luckily that tyre wall is there. And that saved everybody else from being involved in a big accident. Is Van Gortel going to lose it on the curb here? Yes. How many times have we seen that, Ed? I mean, not a lot on our broadcast, but we know it happens.
Yeah, and we may see it more than just that once here tonight because it's so easily done. Just one little misjudgment, a little just tyre on the wrong spot of the circuit, and all of a sudden you're being pitched around into a spin. Robert Backer there got Luke Van Gaal just up ahead of him. We're going though with Jack Wyborn. Fraser Smith just up ahead of him. Tristan Dinnebrega in the NSX leads the race though on the account of that Luke Van Gaal mistake just a few moments ago. And what was I just saying? Chaz knows that he can't afford a single mistake, and then half a minute later he's out of the lead of the race.
Yeah, it's just a shame, isn't it, how it goes? Commentators curse and all that. We follow in the stream here, though. Jack Wyborn has the spray of Fraser Smith and Tristan Dinnebrega just ahead of him. Not a bad place to be, though, that really, chasing two of the fastest guys in the championship. And Ben Chalcraft telling us that his Google search is what led him here. Malcolm Coates is going to struggle to get back up that hill in the Corvette. Eric Villet is also... Oh, wow, big damage on his car. That Mustang is not going to be behaving itself. I think there's been more drama. Potentially. Yeah, Francois Brandet having an issue. Wow, what's happened here? It's all gone to pot, guys. This is Eric Villet. God, you can't see a thing. You can just see brake lights. He's going to hit a puddle here and just go, whoa, look at that. Oh, this is a big hit.
Oh.
And then Malcolm Coates is already having an accident. Car rolls back across the circuit. Francois Brandet has gone past those boys thinking, ha-ha. And then, yeah, just a moment's time after that, I think, oh no, it was ahead of him actually. I think it was Victor Van Zeist. Potentially, yeah, he overtook Eric Villet from this incident. You're going to see Eric just exit stage right here. God, you cannot see a thing. Look how easy it's done. Just floats off the road. And then I think maybe it was just contact between Victor and Gilles Philipparts in the Corvette, actually. I think Gilles just gave him a kiss as they went round the hairpin. At the moment, Luke Lucchese is third in class, fifth overall, but it's his teammate Tristan Dinnebrega leading the way. And the NSX, I mean, it's not the car I'd pick in these conditions, but you know what? Tristan is making it work. He made a bit of a nuisance of himself for some of the drivers at Road America, but he's making sure he's well out of the way this time, isn't he?
He's, just trying to clear up the runs. Oh, he runs a little bit too deep, and Fraser Smith gains a lot of time just through that one corner. Thankfully it was a catastrophic mistake, but now look at Fraser Smith right in behind Tristan Dinnebrega, getting a full face blast of spray. But now alongside, he's going to try and go ahead now down through the roller coaster.
Oh, this is sketchy
Careful now,
stuff.
And pardon me indeed.
Yeah. I don't know if it was just down to Tristan moving right a little bit there. Fraser needs to be careful not to turn into the inner corner of him, though. They've both gone deep, but Fraser's going to get on the power sooner. Let's just hope he doesn't cut the nose off. Tristan's going to understeer as well. Great racing by the pair of them, though. It was just on the line of what was fair, and that was really tough stuff. Tristan's now going to try and stick with him and get the run as they head onto the start-finish straight. I think he has done. Look how dramatic this looks from on board. I daren't jump inside and race in this sort of weather. My goodness me. You can't see where you are on the track, though. It sounds weird to say, but you can only see where the car in front is on the circuit. Fraser's going to defend the inside line as much as he can. And still Tristan not able to make the move, but yeah, that was tough stuff, that by Fraser. As, oh, dearie me, nearly contact there between Daniel Lee and Chris Jennings. There was a bit of, oh no, there's dramas ahead. Martin Kenyon off in the Lamborghini. John Breitenbach has just gone past him. Let's have a look here, see if we can see. Oh, was it the LS Racing Lawrence van der Water? He gets down the inside. Oh, Martin had run wide and then goes back for the apex. And I don't know, Lauren just... he's just understeered into him, hasn't he?
Yeah, again, wet track side by side, it's easy to understeer and just, make contact, innocent contact with the car you're trying to get through ahead of. Fortunately for Martin Kenyon, that contact has seen him drop all the way back down now into 22nd place as 8th in class. Not the best for Martin Kenyon, but still a long way to go, isn't there, Chaz, in this race? We've not even done 10 minutes yet, so there's ample opportunity for Martin Kenyon to claw his way back into this.
Potentially, if you can see where you're going. It's just crazy, the spray on the high-speed sections of the circuit. You can just see the odd brake lights here and there. You just have to be so hesitant in this sort of weather, but I do love the wet weather racing on iRacing. I think there's no sim out there that captures it better. I was actually just playing Assetto Corsa Evo earlier on, got early access to it through my work with GT Planet. Tried that in the rain as well, and I can still tell you that in terms of, you know, spray and how it looks like this, nothing has spray like iRacing. Nothing has spray like iRacing. Everything else just seems to be like pre-rendered clouds that just come up out of the floor. iRacing, it looks like water sitting above the surface. Luke Lucchese has just got ahead of Jack Wyborn. I think the thing with iRacing spray is it looks heavy, it looks like water, like it goes up in the air and then back down again.
Yeah, it's also iRacing isn't sort of there to hold your hand when it comes to the rain, is it? It's there to properly simulate every excruciating detail and really recreate sometimes the unpleasant nature of driving out on a very wet and treacherous circuit. But then again, that's why we love it. It's just a wonderful, wonderful simulator, and they've just knocked it out of the park, to be fair, with the wet weather.
They absolutely have. Someone that's normally knocking it out of the park is this man, Kevin Poon. We've not seen him at the moment, have we? We've really not had him, well, we've not had him on our screens at all night. And right now, this is the first we've seen of him in his new livery. It seems like it's weighing him down. He's just not having the rub of the green so far. 13th place, though. He's gained a few places. 3 overall. 1 position in class, actually, which is all. Yannis Albert has gained 10 places since the start. He didn't get a clean lap in qualifying, so he's had to start from way down. He's on a great recovery drive, 10th in class, 14th overall at this present moment. Look at him sideways through there as Jean Breitenbach's off. Jean Breitenbach's Porsche is facing the wrong way. We've had the question from Thijs Lentjes, where is Luke, as in Van Gortel, and he is currently not moving. He's been in the pits, I'm afraid, and after leading earlier on, he is now out of this race, it seems. Big shame.
Yeah, really, really unfortunate to see Luke Van Gortel, after all the effort in qualifying, now seemingly out of the race, out of contention, definitely for that race victory. That's Lawrence van der Water.
Oh, hello.
Followed him through. We get a great shot over the rear bumper of the Mustang. Danny Lee joining him.
Wow, you couldn't make that up, could you? God, I nearly got motion sick then when it went around. Alex Fretwell had been off as well just after this, or just before it. He's been off in the background. That was weird. My mind really couldn't adjust to that then. Look at that again on the brakes. And Fretwell's going to hit the same barrier that Sloviej hit. But yeah, that was really strange, wasn't it?
Very weird.
Both cars going around in exactly the same form. And it was Lawrence van der Water that went around first. That was really strange, that. I find that really odd. He got very close to contact too. Let's have a look.
Same place that we saw Van Gortel have the incident, wasn't it? It was both Lawrence and Danny Lee.
Great quick thinking that though by Laurent to let the car roll back like that out of the way. That's really good quick thinking. Yeah. You know that there's so many people all the time that will say, you know, hold your brakes, don't move and so on. But sometimes it's better to come off the brakes, let the car roll out of the way like that so you're not going to be in, you know, a dangerous position and cause more incidents. So hats off, really hats off. Luke Lucchese was pushing hard there through the double right-hander. He's just on the fastest lap of the race on that previous lap. 9 tenths quicker than his teammate and 7 tenths of a second quicker than Fraser Smith, the race leader. So he's really on the move, whereas Harper is off in the Lambo. His teammate Kevin Daniels going past, but Luke Lucchese on a mission here, Ed, despite that little wobble there.
It's just, while you want to push hard and go for it, you don't want to do anything that's risky in terms of the lines you're taking to try and save that time. There's still a long way to go in this race, and actually it's through that final sector where Juno Brega and Fraser Smith really have the advantage over Luke Lucchese. Luke Lucchese faster in the first half of that, but in the second half, just not quite there yet.
Yeah, it's interesting to see that there are parts of this circuit where they have strengths and weaknesses. He was still 6 tenths of a second. No, a second quicker than Fraser Smith on that last lap. 1.1 seconds quicker than Tristan Dinabrega. Luke Lucchese is, well, just absolutely flying right now. Kevin Poon has also gained a few places as well. 8 places gained now. He's gained a number of positions in one sector, apparently, with all of those incidents earlier on. Let's have a look as he navigates his way through. So Daniel Lee rejoins on the right. Oh my goodness me. I mean, yeah, fair play that he's gained a few positions, but that was borderline unreasonable. That was
definitely unsafe.
Risky.
Maybe not dangerous, but
No.
I think we can class that as unsafe.
Yes.
Not really what you want to see. Obviously, the rejoins from either side of the circuit didn't help things, but you know, the drivers are doing all they can do. Danny Lee's rejoining from the right-hand side of the circuit, staying to the right. Laurel's rejoining from the left-hand side, staying to the left. And Stephen Donnelly, while chasing down Jack Wyborn.
He's just hit him.
He's dropping back. He's just going into the back of him, yeah. He's not going to lose out class position by the looks of things, is he? Chris Jennings practices Sim Sports is a few places back.
He's still off the road. No, Jennings has gone through. So Wyborn had his own moment. He's going to go off here. He has a big hit into the barriers. I was going to say the left-hand side of the car looked pretty broken. He gets back on the track, but it's broken steering-wise. And then Donnelly, I mean, he's got a while, but yeah, he adjusts and still hits the back of him.
The inside was offered as well, actually, from Wyborn by the looks of things.
Yeah,
I just want to have a look at that from like maybe an aerial shot, but by the looks of things, Jack Wyborn is going on for the outside line, trying to offer the inside to Stephen Donnelly.
This is what Donnelly saw. There's the gap and the difference. You'll see Wyborn suddenly, the spray trail will disappear as he's gone off the road into the barrier. Donnelly will be thinking, great, I can take advantage of this now. You've got a good old time to see him. Gets on the brakes. He was going hot in himself, to be fair, was Donnelly. He was having his own accident, really, whether Jack Wyborn was there or not. Wyborn has since been out of the race, and now Chris Jennings leads the class. He's had an absolute freebie and another one sent to him.
It's just non-stop in this pro class, isn't it, Chaz? There's going to be massive championship permutations as well throughout all of this. Chris Jennings, let's not forget, he got 2 podiums last time out at Road America with third place and then the race victory. So he could really make a charge for a championship. Championship leader Alex Fretwell all the way down 10th in class.
Yeah, Fretwell not having a good time at the moment as Martin Kenyon made an adjustment there to not hit the Mustang in front of him, and the car just completely let go on him there. He's going to take his time rejoining as well. Good stuff from Martin to make sure that he doesn't cause any dramas for anyone around. Yeah, look, there's a big old gap as well to cars behind, so he gets back on nice and safely. Matteo Carbonari is in the thick of it here. He's got Lawrence van der Water, Daniel Lee. Oh, well, he did have Danny Lee off again. Keeps it out of the barrier. Mustang almost looked front-wheel drive for a second there. Chris Jennings overtaken by Kevin Poon. Kevin and Yanis are flying through the order here, actually, doing a great old job. But the man that is fastest at the moment is Luke Lucchese, still quicker than the cars ahead of him. Although he has lost a number of seconds, though. We've got more cars having issues, though. Let's have a look what happened here to Gilles Philipparts. He's just going to do the same as earlier. Surely clip that inside curb. Yep, it's just going to loop the car on him. We've seen many cars do that. Raz Harper's going to do the same. Lamborghini's just going to go around as soon as you touch a curb. Actually, he was late on the brakes. He's clipped the grass, and around she goes. Kaz Brinkhausen now having a drama. Or is he? No, Dean Powell. Dean Powell is the other Danny Lee racing in sympathy with his team boss. Going off the circuit. Dean rejoins the track, as there's now 0.2 of a second in it for the race lead, all of a sudden. Out of nowhere. Tristan Dinnebrager has caught up to Fraser Smith. 0.4 on that last lap. I think Fraser's had a drama here or there.
Yeah, it's obviously harder being the lead car. You're the first to the scene of pretty much every single corner. The race is constantly changing and evolving with the rainfall, seemingly never ending. It's just trying to find the grip is all the more harder each and every single lap. And that means Tristan Dinnebrager is able to sort of judge where Fraser Smith is finding the grip and then also quite clearly see where he isn't. Now it's in towards this double right-hander onto the back straight where Fraser Smith does seem to really have it nailed down. The right line is seemingly the Fraser Smith line through there. And Vera was able to get that great run, wasn't it, all the way through on Tristan Dinnebrega that saw him jump into the lead of the race. But Luke Lucchese, after what was a bit of a scrappy last lap, he's back to the final form and already taken a second out of the times set by Fraser Smith and Dinnebrega.
Yeah, doing a great job at the moment, Fraser Smith. He's been absolutely on it. Lauren van der Water, though, trying to get past Matteo Carbonari at the minute. Really pushing those wet tyres too. Everybody in the race on the wet tyres, as you can imagine. These are not the sort of conditions where people take risks and go, oh, what about slicks? It's not that sort of transition period between the two sets of conditions. Lawrence van der Water staying out of the water at the moment, trying not to get in that spray, just so you get a bit of peripheral, a bit of judgment, just so you can see the circuit. It's crazy. But Matteo Carbonari sliding the Mercedes there through the roller coaster. You've got to love it. Over the puddles and curbs and all sorts. It's very treacherous, this circuit, because there is no room for error whatsoever. You can't clip that inside curb there because you will go around. But then you've also got to be careful of the puddles on the left. Oh, sideways round there. Not easy. Dean Powell is off the road again. Danny Lee has gone back in front. These boys are not having an easy time of it, are they, at present?
No, nobody is out there. Even Fraser Smith, who's leading the race, is looking in behind at every single opportunity because Tristan Dinnebrega is not giving up this one without a fight. Both aware, of course, of the looming threats of Luke Lucchese. Just, ever present. That last lap, maybe not quite at the same pace that we're used to seeing from him, but he's still definitely going to be bringing them in sooner rather than later, you would imagine. Obviously, drivers as well need to be aware, with this being the 1 hour long race, that there will be a pit stop point at some stage. Can't imagine the drivers will be taking tyres, and while you can take tyres at the same time as the fuel, you'd be on some, stone cold wet tyres, and while it might have a bit more grip with them, it takes so long to get into them, it probably cost you more time.
Yeah, that's the thing. It might still dissipate the water a bit better if there's a slight bit more tread on them. Luke Lucchese's off. Lucchese is off, and I think out of the race. The front right of that car is absolutely destroyed, and Luke Lucchese, after being the quickest car on track for a bit, is now out of the race. Dinnebrega makes a mistake as well. It's getting more and more treacherous out there all the time, but Luke Lucchese, championship protagonist, off and out of this race. Is it going to be a loss of the brakes? Surely a loss on the brakes. As soon as he touches the brakes now. Oh dear. Yeah, that's a big old hit, that. That is a big old hit, that one. We'll see it from the TV camera. He's just going to come streaming right towards where this camera is. Oh. Devastating. Devastating stuff. Matt Hoyland as well, he won't like me for this, but I think he followed along in sympathy. And he's also had an off. Potentially loops it on the exit here, maybe. Is he just going to touch one of these curbs?
Final right-hander where we saw Luke Van Gortel have that moment, Danny Lee and Lawrence van der Water.
Yep.
Yep,
nice
there
call.
we go.
Nice call. God, look at how much it floats. It goes so far down the road before it stops.
Ooh.
Was there a
I
car
thought there
losing
was going to be a collection almost at the exit there. While there was barely a space on the left-hand side of the circuit, most of the drivers opted to go for the right. This is a Danny Lee replay earlier. Coming through here. Nice and tidy enough.
I think he's about to do the same thing.
It's at the same corner again.
Whoa!
This is a corner earlier.
And there's a wall there.
That's the wall.
Oh. Wow. This is mighty incredible, isn't it? By the way, there's 18 seconds between Luke King in third place and Tristan Dinnebrega in second. 18 seconds between them. Fraser Smith and Tristan Dinnebrega, and to be fair to him, Luke Lucchese, have all been in an absolute league of their own, haven't they, so far?
Yeah, it's been, for some of these drivers, not necessarily the best day in the office, but for others, they've really been able to make the most of the tricky conditions and come out on top. I think Chris Jennings, he's going to be really pleased with his performance as well, actually, especially when you have the wider context of a championship fight that's going to start to sort of appear more clear, at least after tonight, of who's going to be the drivers in the fight, who's going to maybe just be a little bit too far back. He's going to really put himself in a great position as the driver that everyone else is going to be trying to chase down.
I'm just enjoying this camera view. Look at this, look at the amount of spray there. As soon as you come out of the spray as well, I can see clearly now and all that. John Brayton back, chasing down Kevin Daniels. Just ahead of him, there's been a change for third place. Ryan Otton's in the Corvette on an absolute mission at the moment. He's just got ahead of Luke King. There's a good battle going on back here. Robert Bakker has Victor Van Zijs, Chaz Brinkhausen, Martin Kenyon all together. I think Chaz has just been off the road, actually. He has. That's why suddenly the positions all changed around. Let's see what Chaz does here. Is he going to do what Danny just did? I think the car's already got a little bit of damage. Yep. Just as it goes over that crest, that's a literal carbon copy of what Danny did. He hits the wall in a slightly different angle, dents in that front left corner, then gets back on the road. Battle here between Matteo Carbonari and Lawrence van der Water. Great battle in between the two of them. You've got to love a bit of that. The Porsche using the traction around the outside. It's not easy to battle through there, though. Carbonari then backs out of it, gives his Porsche driving counterpart some room. Lovely bit of battle in there between these two guys. But have you noticed, Ed? I'm not used to seeing it because we're British, but the sun is out. The sun is shining here at Virginia. There's some very bright conditions. Look at the difference there. Van der Water's just disappeared. But yeah, sun is out. Oh, as Raz Harper goes off. Sun's out. It'll dry up quickly now. Don't think the rain's coming down at all, is it? It's still raining a bit. Yes. Dean Powell, by the way, getting past Robert Bakker, making a move there. More moves.
Just having a look, Chaz, sorry, at the weather forecast as well while you were talking about the rain. We do have a break in the clouds, actually, for now, but it's only brief.
Oh.
Yeah. Not what the drivers will want to hear, but Roger, yes, there will be some slight break in the weather until it then starts to absolutely chuck it down again.
Yannis Albert will be hoping that he can see clearly in a bit because he's just gone off. He's had a spin out of the final corner. Gets back up to speed. He's been having a good run of it as well as Yannis. It's a huge shame to see him lose that like that. But nobody is immune. It's one thing you've got to remember about this. Look how sideways it seems all the way down there. Then into the final corner. Yeah, it's that curve again. That was Kevin Poon going past him as well, by the way. Kevin is now gained 14 places up to 7th overall. Great drive by him. Dean Powell has come in the pit lane. Wonder whether he's changing tyres. We're nearly halfway through this race, Ed. Somehow we have made it very far through already. We've got a number of retirees from the race. Malcolm Coates, Matt Hoyland, Luke Van Gortel, Kostek Sloviej. Martin Kenyon's just been off again. It's very, very tricky. It may look nice and sunny now, but it's the standing water on the circuit that is still nightmare fuel. There's a car off there in front. That's Victor Van Zijs. It's just never ending.
Does not seem to have any respite or what at all, this track, for these drivers. But yeah, I think you are right that it has now stopped raining. Can't really see anything beyond the spray. We're on board with Lawrence de Dapper. This is going to be at least slightly comforting for the drivers.
Oh, that won't be.
That's not going to be for Laurent. It's again going onto those curbs where they're just so slick and slippery. This was the, I think, was this the spin we had earlier from Raz Harper, or is this a separate incident?
Just had another one. He's going to clip that curb and it's going to go left. Oh, that's race ending. Oh, yeah. That's, I mean, that's real world, that'd be career ending, let alone race ending. This is the battle, by the way, for the class lead in the pro class. Chris Jennings and Lawrence van der Water only separated by half a second. So Lawrence van der Water, we can take the mick out of his name all we want with the fact that he's literally skating across something he's named after, but he is on the move here, Ed. He's looking absolutely brilliant at the moment, chasing right up to the back of Chris Jennings and potentially going for the lead.
Could be, here we go. Oh, going for it now, isn't he? Chucking up the inside of Chris Jennings. I think he rather lets that one happen. Realises, of course, in the championship, it's all about just bagging the strong points. A podium is not too bad in comparison to the race victory. That was wonderfully done by Laurent. Pace really with him now, as with most of the Porsches, to be fair. Laurent dead up. This was the other Laurent, not having the best of times.
No, not enjoying the water so much.
The front two have kind of broken away from the rest of the field. Ryan Ottens, the nearest driver to Justin Dinnebrega further back, is 20 seconds. Is that the gap?
Yeah.
Flippin' heck. So.
That was Marcel calling it a night. We got to see that for just a second there. We'll go back to it. No, this is Laurent de Dapper. Marcel Breitenbach called it a night, I'm afraid, in the Corvette. Look how little steering lock they're putting on in the Corvette, by the way. We've noticed it all season, even in the dry, and it just doesn't give him anything. And, into the end of that wall. That's going to be, that's broken it. That is properly broken it. Another car off. It's Martin Kenyon again. Kenyon off once more. He's having constant offs at the moment, is Martin. Recovers with Laurent de Dapper behind him. Now Jean Breitenbach's off as well as Marcel. Oh, he's parked horribly there on the apex. You can't even see where the edge of the road is to get going. Oh, and he's on a slant. Has he beached it? Has he? Yeah, I think he's beached it. He's gone back to the pits.
Yeah.
Wow. Dropping like flies here.
It's just about survival, this race, really, isn't it? It's just trying to get through and manage it in one piece, and I think the best driver at doing exactly that, while also having the pace to lead out in front, is the man we're on board with, Fraser Smith. And again, just tell that they're not putting on really all that much in terms of steering lock. Just trying to coast the car through the corners, make sure it's nice and settled, turning in a little bit early into the corner, just essentially to avoid the sudden force that you're putting through the car, through the tyres, that will cause it to slip and slide around.
Yeah, if you would have told me a few years ago, watching Fraser Smith in the British Boring Car Championship, that he'd be the driver in wet conditions to keep it all under control and keep it nice and tidy, I'd have asked you what you were on and whether I could have some. But yeah, I tell you, he's doing an absolutely belting job, is Fraser. Really, really is. Kaz Brinkhausen's unfortunately just had a bit of a drama. He's been off the circuit again. Luke King also went off around the same time. This is... he's just clipped the grass on that curb, and look at it. Just completely unloads any grip it's got whatsoever, and it just floats. Luke King is going to have a big accident there, I'm telling you. This is going to be... You don't have a small one up here. It's grit one way. It's gone. It's gone. It's gone around. He's lucky not to hit a wall. I'll tell him that for free. Dean Powell also off.
Over to the right-hand side of the circuit, not the left, where we saw the barrier that took out Marcel Breitenbach just a few moments ago.
Curb of death for Dean Powell. Tristan Dinnebrega has to slam on as well to not get involved in that. That opens up the lead even more. Fraser Smith continues to lead this race convincingly now, nearly 6 seconds ahead. He's got Martin Kenyon in the Lamborghini a lap down just in front, but look now, even with the sun out, so much standing water still on the circuit and still rain coming down here, Ed. It's so treacherous. Martin's got nowhere to go really here, has he? I mean, well, he has, but he's just not getting out of the way.
No, but at the same time...
Martin, what are you doing?
Martin, that's not the best. Thankfully, it doesn't cause any obstructions for either himself or for Fraser Smith in terms of a collision, but that's scary stuff. And also, Chaz, the break in the cloud has come to an end as we've got more rain coming down now.
Yeah, it's it's just... I mean, it's the last thing that the drivers want to see. The last thing that the drivers want to see is more rain coming down, because it seemed to stop, but not for long. And now, yeah, there's still puddles absolutely everywhere offline. We are just over the halfway mark of this race. I think fuel is going to be the only reason they pit, isn't it? Because don't they have limited fuel tanks in these, so they have to give a pit stop? We used to have 2 pit stops in the 1 hour races.
Yes, these are, I think they are mandatory 50% fuel limits, so they will have a pit stop, but obviously in the wet, you're not as full throttle as you would be in the dry, which is why they're able to save the fuel. A lot of the times the drivers go into the pits mainly for fuel-based reasons rather than tyre wear reasons, so we'll expect to see field coming through, well, there's the majority of the field coming through into the pits sooner rather than later. It does mean that some of the drivers that had to pit earlier on for more damage-based reasons, I think Danny Lee being one of them who came into the pits on lap 10, should be okay to go to the end of the race, potentially, as long as he's able to really save and look after the field.
I'd keep it on the road, because let's not forget Danny's had 2 different moments at this sector. He's been off at this corner and he's also been off at this one, but he's got it right this time. The sun is definitely out there. You can see how shiny the rubbered racing line is. Oh, there's a puddle there, Danny. But there's so much water still reflecting off the surface, still coming down and still being thrown back up in the air as well. I really do love the wet weather on iRacing, because it just keeps you thinking all the time. And like we always say, there's no hand-holding here. I said it a few weeks ago, didn't I? You know, iRacing has said for a long time they'll do wet weather. Everybody went, oh wow, it's going to be really exciting, we can't wait. You know, everyone more excited for just how it's going to look, and the fact that we get more weather options than how difficult it's going to be. And then, you know, everybody got rain and they went, oh, but it's difficult. And iRacing are like, right, what do you want? Like, do you want it realistic, or do you want it, like, you know, just artificial? And they have gone for such a brutal approach with it. It is so hard to drive in the rain on iRacing. But it's, you know, we wouldn't have it any other way, because iRacing have spent a long time doing it. They've made it realistic. Sure, there's been the issues with the dynamic surfaces and so on recently, but it's bound to happen when you have a sim that's as dynamic and as, you know, versatile as iRacing is. Kevin Poon now up into 4th place down the inside of Kevin Daniels. Kevin's been under the radar. Actually, they're both called Kevin. Kevin Daniels has been under the radar. So too has Kevin Poon, actually. But right now, he's gained 17 places. Yannis Albert, despite his incidents and his offs, he's actually still gained 16 spots in this race. So he's having a real belter of a time right now. He's got the Mustang of Danny Lee right behind him. But Chris Jennings is 4 seconds back overall on the road. It's still Lawrence van der Water that is leading the way in the pro class. And, well, he's been... I mean, he's only gained 1 place in class. Lost 2 places overall. But he's had a lively race to get there, hasn't he, Ed?
Yeah, he's certainly not had a quiet race, but I don't think many drivers have had a quiet race, have they, Chaz?
No.
Lawrence van der Water, like you mentioned, being in the thick of it, but still, rain or shine and all the rest, he's been able to keep it going for now with around about 25 minutes to go in the race. As it stands, he's been nice and relaxed out there, which is always good to see. Now into the midst of sort of another little shower, but as you can see, there is still lightness out on the circuit. The sun is still shining down. Maybe getting into another period of slightly longer respite from the rain.
Hopefully.
We shall see.
I mean, hopefully for the drivers, I don't care. I think it's brilliant to watch. The fact that, you know, we've got all this spray, shiny conditions still with the sunlight bearing down, drivers going off all over the place. It's very entertaining. Robert Bakker into the pits then. Laurent de Dapper going in there with him. 5th place in class at the moment. Bakker goes into the pits in one of the earliest boxes. Laurent goes into his box as well. Race lead is now 6.4 seconds for Fraser Smith in the Conehead Racing Machine. He's been doing an incredible job at the top end of the championship so far, Ed. Nobody seems to be able to get near him. Kaz Brinkhausen off again. The Mustang's Achilles heel really is that final sector, isn't it?
It's just the curbs as well. They really struggle with the curbs, and while it should be good at clearing the standing water, it just doesn't seem to be the case. It's really the Porsche that's able to skate across the surface and not seemingly suffer at all. It's come out on top. Again, the NSX hasn't looked too bad either. That was, well, scary stuff, wasn't it, from Tristan de Nebrega? That was Martin Kenyon getting out of the way, but very abruptly.
It's just when, I mean, I flashbacks there of Coulthard and Schumacher Spa 98. You know, if you're going to get out of the way. Sure, Martin did it off the racing line, to be fair to him, but you know, there was a sudden slowdown from the Lamborghini there, and he just came backwards at you out of the spray. Seemed like, from our perspective at the moment, Martin can't win. He didn't get out of the way earlier, and then when he did get out of the way, it still didn't look fantastic, bless him. But still, he's trying to get out of the way of these guys and do it as respectfully as he can. But making big, sudden adjustments in weather like this is nightmare fuel. So fair play to him for at least making the effort to get out of the way. I know a lot of drivers wouldn't. Robert Bakker is now all over the back of Chaz Draycott after his little spin a moment ago. This is for 9th and 10th in class, 15th and 16th overall. We've got a car off the road. Oh, it's Francois Brandet. Francois back on the circuit now. Kevin Daniels has also come to a stop. He's facing the wrong way. All of a sudden, no one wants to do well in this race.
No, it's been eventful so far, and it will continue to be the very same. Francois Brandet, even though he's been up and down and everywhere else, he's going to be very happy with this potential podium. But Victor Van Zeist for MJK Sim Racing right up there with him. I haven't actually seen too much of Victor. We saw a lot of his teammate Luc Van Gortel earlier on, at least, when
well, 3 laps
the
worth.
race. Yeah, the 3 laps worth. But my word, we see a lot of him in those 3 laps.
Simon Price shouting "non" in the chat at the evidence of Francois Brandet off the circuit. Simon and Francois have a very funny relationship. We're in a lot of Discord servers together. Whenever Francois just says anything, Simon Price gives it a French flag reaction and a baguette reaction. No matter what it is, no matter how innocent. Mustangs don't like being on the road by the look of it. Danny Lee is off. Gilles Philipparts is off. It seems like freedom breeds on the grass. But, yeah, Gilles Philipparts off. Daniel Lee off. Chaz Draycott off. It's not working out for these American cars, is it? They have to turn right and do it in the wet as well. You can't have everything. I mean, he was turning left then and it still got it wrong. Just look at how long it floats sideways on the surface. It is like ice. It really is like ice. It's crazy.
Absolutely horrific out there. It really is just, again, we keep saying it's just horrendous, but it's difficult to describe it as anything else, isn't it, Chaz? Again, we've got, once more, a light break. As you can see, no rain falling for one round of water. Into the pits he comes. My word.
Slow
what a race it has been.
Oh, yeah, this has been, I mean, one of the most memorable races of the season. Probably for bad reason for the drivers, but for great reason for us. The entertainment caused by this wet weather is just second to none. Absolutely second to none. Eric Verlet, not Eric Verret. Eric Verlet has been quite quiet. He went off the circuit slightly there, and then he's going to have another one here. He's going to hit the curb of death. Yep. God, we need to put a compilation together of all the cars that have done that, and he's right in the middle of the road there. Fretwell goes past. Good thing. Good thing he did that. He decided to reverse and get out of it. Victor Van Zeist and Laurens van der Water right together here for 3rd and 4th in class. Francois Brandet is just up the road, a second and a half, but Chris Jennings, despite the Mercedes spinning in front of him, is 16 seconds clear now in class. Flying.
Really just a rapid turn of pace. Chris Jennings as well. We need to see when he's coming into the pits as well. He's one of the drivers yet to pit for Sim Sports. Again, thinking of the championship and what may come. Again, we saw a little break in the rain, and then again, once more on board with Chris Jennings, we can clearly see still falling.
Oh. So is his connection.
I was worried then. I disconnected earlier on. I thought it had happened again.
No, don't you worry, love.
Just a brief little blip for Chris Jennings.
Hopefully for Francois Brandet, this was a little blip as well as he hits the water. That is exactly where Matteo Carbonari went off about 10 seconds earlier. He came to a stop. Francois reverses a little bit, tries not to put the car in the middle of the road, and then cracks on. Ryan Otton's into the pits from 3rd place. That is. Oh my goodness me. All sorts of noises could describe that, but none of them would do it justice. That is this. I mean, we've seen some sickening impacts tonight, but where is the warning of that? Oh my goodness me. That's possibly one of the most sudden incidents we've ever seen.
Everything is fine, and then in, about a second, it's no longer.
Everything was fine until it wasn't.
Yeah, it's about 1 second to the next. The car's completely fine on the straight and narrow. The other times it's up in the air, everything's broken. But
unbelievable.
Credit to him, he was able to nurse it battered and bruised back into the pits.
I don't know how.
And we'll have to see if he's still able to get that podium, because, oh dear, not again, not another one.
Stephen Donnelly out of this race. I think he's already got damage here. I hope that car doesn't hit him. Oh, he's in the way. He's a lap down. Oh, the car behind lost it on the brakes. Was that our class leader, Lawrence van der Water? No, it wasn't. It was Laurent de Dapper. Laurent de Dapper was right behind him. Oh, and he's already come to a stop at this point. So Laurent goes to go past him. Stephen goes left to cover it. They weren't battling for position. Not that I know of. And then, oh, Laurent's just lost it on the brakes. He gets very lucky, but Stephen doesn't. Stephen seemed to have a lot of damage already, and that's Tristan Dinnebrega just behind him as well, by the way. Second place in the entire race. Danny Lee's had another... Where on earth is he going to go off the road here? That is Luke Lucchese coming out the pits. Oh, just as he gets on the brakes, it goes straight on. This is... I don't think I've ever seen wet weather, affect everybody so much.
Yeah, not to this degree. I think it's just because of the track itself is so unforgiving. And oh my word, there was a big moment there, wasn't it? For Ryan Ottens, nearly looping it around. Can't afford any more mistakes, Ryan. He's used his fast repair up and no more lifelines available to him. He's got Matteo Carbonari up ahead of him as well. But so far, the top 7 drivers all yet to pit.
We've got Glass Tech Racing in the chat. Good to see you. Asking for the overall gaps. That is the overall gaps. 8.8 seconds for the lead. But then we've got other drivers. I mean, over a lap down off the lead. Luke Lucchese out of the race as well. Actually, no, Luke Lucchese is back in the race. He's the last car running, but he's 4 laps down at the present moment. Just going to check pit stops as well. We've still got a bunch of drivers in the elite class yet to stop. Chris Jennings yet to stop. But wow, this has been an attritional one so far. By the look of it, we've lost a good 9 or 10 cars. Luke Lucchese still with damage as well. Dean Powell's been off the circuit. Kaz Brinkhausen's been off the circuit. Seems like the Mustangs don't want to finish in particular. Matteo Carbonari still wrangling this Mercedes. He's had a few offs as well, but the car still looks very straight, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's a miracle, isn't it? It's made of stern stuff. Even with all of the incidents, he's mainly just been having them sort of little and often, as there is another one. And again, it's just putting emphasis on the point is that Matteo Carbonari has been having these little moments. They aren't really race ending. But Lawrence van der Water too wide. We've seen this before. Is already treacherous. Trying to squeeze one another. You don't really want to do that either.
You don't want to do it on the dry.
Stay relatively steady, which they do. Carbonari hanging on. Again, not necessarily a battle where either driver would lose points, Matteo Carbonari and Lawrence van der Water, because they are in different classes.
Yeah.
Just a reminder for people who are just joining us, aren't familiar with the format. Drivers score points based on their class position, not their overall race position, which is why sometimes we see drivers in different classes not really fighting with one another. But for now, Lawrence van der Water is trying to find a way through on the Italian. Currently up in 8th place overall. It's Kevin Byrne has come back onto the racing circuit from the pit lane. I mean, he's entitled to race, but you've got to do a safe rejoin from the pit lane.
I mean, I think that was on Ottens there. I don't think Ottens left him any room at all. Just turns to the apex as if he's not there, and even since then they're still squeezing each other. Bit of contact, but that was down to Poon losing it a little bit. Lawrence van der Water doesn't need to get involved in this here. He's got a potential class lead on his hands. He doesn't need to throw this away by getting involved in this elite driver rubbish in front of him. He needs to just sit behind Kevin Poon right now and just let him do what he's doing, but it doesn't look like he's going to. It's self-destructive. Matteo Carbonari behind should be doing the same. Fraser Smith into the pits. Tristan Dinnebrega into the pits. A very, very much two-horse race here. They have 50 seconds over Luke King behind them. It's absolutely incredible the lead that these two have got at the moment. They have been absolutely on it, but we need to go back to this just in case anything materialises from it. Back on board with Laurent van der Water. Doesn't need to get that close for his own sake, because he could bounce off Kevin Poon, but he could also ruin Kevin's race by hitting the back of him. don't understand some of the decision making going on here.
Yeah, it's
just reeks of impatience in places where it doesn't need to. You know, like we saw the squeeze in before by Laurent de Dapper on the start on the back straight. Actually, no, it was Carbonari, wasn't it? It was Laurent van der Water and the squeezing that we saw. It just doesn't need to do it.
Especially when they're not really battling for position that will affect the points either.
No.
It's just not needed. It's mainly just trying to take a step back and assess, I don't know, what your aims are in the championships. Also just realising that what your aims are in that race as well. If Laurent is going to be slightly quicker, even if he is in a class behind, it's worth just letting him through and then seeing if that can help you out. Obviously, if he's able to clear a path for you.
Yeah, definitely. You need to just think about the bigger picture.
Speaking of, though, clear a path, no one has needed to clear any path before the man leading the race, have they, Chaz? It's this man, Fraser Smith, who really is at home in the wets. We saw it, actually, didn't we? At Zolder, I believe he won the race there when it was absolutely chucking it down. So he's really quite at home in these really just unfavourable conditions.
Yeah, he's absolutely got it sorted, hasn't he, Fraser Smith? Doing a really solid job, continuing on and just making it look like he's driving in the dry. It's brilliant. Kevin Poon is still all over the back of Ryan Ottens, understandably. May not be too happy with the little bits of contact earlier on, but one of them was him slightly losing it. The other was Ryan squeezing him to the apex. So the battle is very much on here for 4th place overall. Chris Jennings still leads in the pro class, but he still needs to come into the pits at some point. I'll just show you the pit stops. On the left, it's Chris Jennings and Luke King that are the only 2 drivers yet to stop that are still running anyway. Luke King running in 3rd position, even without pitting. He is still 5 seconds off the car ahead. He's going to pit now, but Tristan Dinnebrega and Fraser Smith are already long gone. Fraser's 20 seconds up the road, and he had a pit stop in hand. That just shows you how quick he and Tristan have been in this race. It is remarkable.
I think remarkable is the perfect way to describe this race for the moment, because I've not seen someone as comfortable in the wet as I have seen Fraser Smith. I think it's fair to say Fraser Smith has been really just a class above the rest. Oh my word.
I shouldn't laugh.
Struggling at the moment. That is Kevin Poon. But ahead of that was that was the Mercedes, was it, of Robert Bakker? We're just seeing now.
Kerbedeth.
The mistake. He does the right thing, doesn't he, of just staying stationary, letting all the other cars sort of go around him. It's Victor Van Zyst having a moment at roughly the same time. And then there's Kevin Poon.
Yeah, Robert Bakker went to rejoin and then sat still for a little bit, did the right thing in the end, just waited for other cars to make it around him, so he knew roughly whether there was space either side. Kevin Poon here having a battle with his namesake, Kevin Daniels. They have been reunited. Both of them having very different races. Kevin has carved his way through the order. Kevin Daniels has actually as well. He's gained 7 places overall in the race, but yeah, even where he is now, Kevin Poon has gained 13. 18 places gained by Yannis Albert. Driver of the race so far for me, Yannis, because every time we see him, he's having a little moment like that when the car is having a wiggle, but he's just keeping the pace, absolutely on it. So hats off to Yannis. He really is a very, very good driver, and it's great to see the RDSA have picked him up now and he's joined them in their ranks after battling them for so many seasons. We've got cars off again. It's Martin Kenyon again. Kaz Brinkhausen again. These guys are going to run out of incident points at some point. Surely they may end up with drive-throughs.
Yeah, they might do, actually. That's another good point, Chaz, that you've picked up on, is that the fact that drivers have an incident penalty limit of 17 and then a disqualification limit of 22. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if we see drivers actually just not being able to finish the race because of the incident limit. I mean, some of the drivers will be glad that there is only around about 8 minutes remaining in the race, so that they don't need to wait too long and last too much longer out there. Here we go, there's Kevin Daniels, Kevin Poon. And now ahead. Once more, even though you make the move, you've then got to get through this horrible, horrible sector, which again has been the undoing of many a Porsche.
We've lost 12 cars from the race. Gilles Philipparts, Luke Lucchese, Actually, no, Luke is running again. Apologies. So we've lost 10. Alex Fretwell is running again as well. He's a few laps down. Daniel Lee, Eric Verley, Stephen Donnelly, Jack Wyborn, Raz Harper, Marcel Breitenbach, Malcolm Coates, Matt Hoyland, Luke Van Gortel and Kostek Soloviec all out of this race. We have 7 cars currently running in the pro class. Alex Fretwell is running, albeit 4 laps down. Luke Lucchese is running, albeit 4 laps down. And we have 13 running in the elite class. It is so attritional, this race here tonight. And at the end of the day, as a driver, you know, I know drivers that will complain about the fact that this was part of the season, and, you know, let's say, let's not do that ever again, and, you know, let's have this round not count or whatever. But you have to, Francois, come on, you have to be ready for all conditions, don't you? As a driver, you have to be able to adapt. You know, not like the Formula 1 thing where, you know, they build cars that can't go around corners anymore and the circuits have to adapt to them to make it work. The cars and the drivers adapt to the circuit and what it provides.
Yeah, that was Francois
just
going
cut
off
away
the
from
circuit, which spared his blushes for a moment as we then look to Chaz Draycott. Goes one way, then the other way, and then into the wall.
That is a Mustang out of the race, very much so. He's had a lot of offs tonight, unfortunately, as Chaz, and that was one too many. Francois has just gone a bit deep into there, and onto the grass he goes, but to be fair, driving on the grass is probably more grippy than the circuit at this point. He rejoins. Laurent de Dapper has now got Martin Kenyon right behind him in the Lamborghini as they try and wiggle their way up the S's. 5 minutes and 40 seconds left. It's worth mentioning as well the championship sponsors. Thanks very much to GP2 Group. Thank you very much to Keenan Eco Energy, and thanks to Kame as well. Thanks also to all the guys and girls behind the scenes at the Evolution Sim Racing community and the GT3 Championship itself. It's wonderful to be a part of it again. We love these lot. They're a great laugh. They put on some fantastic racing. It's a really well organised championship. They never ever take a break. And Ed and I are delighted to be back in the box for it again, as Ryan Ottens has a bit of a wiggle there. Laurent van der Water is still, he's not scared to get amongst it with these elite drivers, is he? I think he just needs to take a chill pill a bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great attribute to have, is that you don't want to back down for a battle, but at the same time, it can really just be your undoing by fighting a little bit too much in places where it's, again, not really the most sensible thing to do. But credit to Laurent, he has the pace around here. That's certainly nothing that you can really debate on, is it? He is by far the quickest driver in the pro class right now.
It's 44 seconds ahead of Jennings.
Yeah, attempting to chase down a potential podium. You can see, well, both of the, well, not potential overall podium, rather. You can see Ryan Ottens and Luke King, the two Alpha 1 Esports cars, right there within his sights. 4 minutes to go. As Robert Bakker goes for a little bit of a wander off the circuit.
He's Bakker onto the circuit again. As Victor Van Zeist is off the circuit again. Francois Brandet goes through in the NSX, moves up into a podium position in his class. How long will that last, though? Because Victor Van Zeist wants back at him. Yannis Albert has gone off the road. Yannis Albert has gone off and then back on again and then back off again. He's been all over the place. He's been off at the roller coaster here. This could be a scary one. Let's have a look. Is he going to go to... Is he going to lose it? Yes. How has he not hit anything here? Oh my goodness me, that is one of the moments of the race, that is.
Yeah, buy a lottery ticket or something,
doing?
that is...
Oh my goodness me, I nearly held onto my monitor then just to make sure it didn't fall over. Wow. Wow, that is a moment and a half, that for Yannis Albert. Fair play, sunshine.
Scary stuff.
He'll be terrified to touch the brakes now, won't he, up there? I would.
Yeah, it's as soon as you've had that moment, you're going back to it. There's always going to be in your back of your mind if it's going to happen again. But thankfully, it seems, hopefully, it won't have too many more laps to worry about that as we are approaching the end. Martin Kenyon, ooh, twitchy stuff. Just again, the Lamborghini, not really the car you want to be in, it appears, around here.
Ooh, look at that traction though. That was great. That Laurent de Dapper had a bit of a moment. Francois Brandet, I think, has gone through for a drive-through penalty, which puts pay to his podium. Martin Kenyon here trying it around the outside of the LS Racing Porsche. Not a subtle car by any stretch of the imagination. Oh, very close. Tough stuff there. Martin needs to be really patient here. I think he wanted to try and cut back across the apex, but Laurent de Dapper put the car in the perfect position. Robert Bakker is off again, back onto the circuit, having a nightmare. As right now, Martin Kenyon trying to keep this as tidy as he can while also chasing the Porsche down. You can see such weird racing lines taken by these drivers, can't you? Every single time they go through a corner, they've got Fraser Smith behind them on the circuit, who will do another lap after this one. He's on lap number 29 of this race here in the Evolution Sim Racing GT3 Championship. This is Season 7, and this is the A split of the 2 races that we have each time. The B split is being covered by the wonderful Joe Glass and Dara Thacker over on the Evolution Sim Racing YouTube channel. Don't forget to go and watch that after this broadcast if you want to see how the B split gets on in similar conditions. We were planning on doing some picture-in-picture stuff throughout the season, me and Joe, but seems like it might be a little bit more hassle than the reward will give. Or, sorry, more hassle than it's worth. There's no better way of putting it. As Martin Kenyon now, in this gorgeous-sounding Lamborghini, tucks right in behind Laurent de Dapper in the Porsche. Oh, not much room on the right there. Martin comes over to the left, and again. They were both moving a little bit there. Laurent moved over to the right to begin with, then Martin moved back over to the left. Great little switch back that. Martin might have had this done, you know. Oh, he understeers a little bit wide. He tried to give the room, though. You could see with how the car tucked in afterwards. He was trying to give the room there to Laurent de Dapper. He's too busy flashing the lights, is Laurent, and he's taking himself off. You don't need to flash your lights. Martin didn't do anything wrong there. He just understeered a little bit. But Laurent decides to flash his lights, and in doing so loses himself time. As just behind them, Fraser Smith begins the final lap of the race, Ed. What a drive this has been. 15 seconds clear now of Tristan Dinabrega. I'm unfortunately here to tell you that Francois Brandet's race is over.
Oh dear, let's have a look and see just how it comes to an end. Oh, that's a weird spot for it to have. I'm not sure if we've seen it again through that left-hander. It's almost always the right, isn't it?
Yeah, it's definitely a weird one. Laurent de Dapper, I think, maybe still flashing the lights. Having another off behind Martin Kenyon. Seems the LS racing drivers do need to chill out a little bit, doesn't it? Anyone called Laurent. But still, right now, Fraser Smith is on his way to another victory in the championship. He took the first win of the night back at Road America. And right now, as Ryan Ottens has just been at a little off anyway, from 4th place, and now Laurent van der Water is going to go past him on the left-hand side in the Porsche. He starts the final lap in the class lead in the Pro class. They're magnetising towards each other in a way I really didn't like then. Still very close together. But what about Fraser Smith, Ed? He's been absolutely untouchable, really, hasn't he, once he got that lead? Yeah,
he's been really strong. It's always in these wet conditions where he just comes alive, and no one really was able to lay a finger on him. It was a little bit close points, obviously, when he was trying to chase down the lead, but then once he got there, it was no looking back, was there?
Not at all. It's a very subtle car to be inside of as well, isn't it, with all the orange? But still, wherever you may be, I want you to put your hands together in the chat, whether you are Benjamin Bartley, who seems to be Fraser's biggest fan, or not. Put your hands together, because this has been an incredible drive in some of the most treacherous conditions we've ever seen here on Chaz Draycott Media. Fraser Smith wins at Virginia International Raceway. What an incredible drive that was by the Conehead Racing driver. He takes the victory by over 15 seconds from Tristan Dinabrega. Tristan did a great job as well, though, in a similar class to Fraser tonight, but that final stint, he could just not get near him in any way, shape or form. Just had an Instagram notification as well, by the way, Ed, from Chapter X. Do you remember them and their incredible amount of confidence at the start of the season? Where are they now?
Yes. Yeah, I think they're probably preparing for Daytona, I would imagine. There's more than a few drivers that they're getting ready for the Daytona 24 Hours, which is this weekend. All the best to you if you are going to be taking part. Obviously, me and Chaz probably stayed into the comms box. That's why we're not getting any preparations done, and why we're going to be looking forward to seeing everyone sort of in a week's time when we back up and running. But regardless, it's been a great race, and what a brilliant event it was for Lawrence van der Water. Once more, going through for a class victory, and also by nearly a 50-second gap to Chris Jennings.
Yeah, that's very, very impressive, that one. Very, very impressive. But, you know, it was unorthodox in the way that he went about it. But, you know what? Fair play to him. Fair play. He wasn't on the podium at Road America, but he's got himself back up there now. Chris Jennings has been on the podium for the last 3 races in the Pro class. Victor van Zijst as well will be really happy to get on the podium if he can stay there. He's only 8 seconds behind Chris. But Fraser Smith, Tristan Dinnebrega, all doing a really, really good job at the front of the field. 3rd place in the end, actually, went to Luke King. Luke was really under the radar, I'd say, in that race. But there's Chris Jennings across the line. Great drive. And 2nd place is his, and he will surely extend his championship lead with that result. It's Porsche's 1, 2 and 3, and then 1 and 3 in the elite class. Definitely the car to be in the wet weather. Certainly a car that makes your life a lot easier. Martin Kenyon just finishing a few seconds off a podium there. Considering how many times we caught Martin off the circuit tonight, that is not a bad job at all. But that's it. That's all of our finishes, Ed. That is all we had. We had 14, 15, 16 cars finish the race in the end. And that was attritional, to say the least. Let's have a look at some race results then. We'll go through the elite class. You can see the rain still coming down here. Fraser Smith wins by just under 15 seconds from Tristan Dinnebrega. Luke King finishes in 3rd place with his teammate Ryan Ottens in 4th. Yannis Albert, one of my drivers of the race there, 18 places gained to finish in 5th in class. Kevin Poon eventually gaining 14 places to finish where he did. Hats off to Victor van Zijst as well, by the way, in the Pro class. He also gained 14 places, I should say. Kevin Daniels was next up with Matteo Carbonari, Jean Breitenbach and Dean Powell a lap down. Robert Bakker was the last car to finish in the elite class. Luke Lucchese, Kaz Brinkhausen, Gilles Philipparts, Daniel Lee, Raz Harper, Luke van Gortel and Kostek Soloviej not finishing the race. And we now hand the baton over to Ed with the Pro class.
Thank you very much, Chaz. And yes, Lawrence van der Water, class of the field, really at home in his namesake. The wet and wild conditions did not seem to slow him down one bit as he takes a 53-second margin of victory over Chris Jennings. Again, Chris, another podium to his tally so far this season. Means that he's going to be in a really great pace for the championship fight to come. Victor van Zijst there completes the top 3 in 3rd with Martin Kenyon for all his trials and tribulations. 4th place, some strong points. Laurent de Dapper in 5th, ahead of Francois Brandet in 6th. Alex Fretwell 4 laps down in 7th, and then drivers don't believe will be classified as finishing: Eric Valet, Stephen Donnelly, Marcel Breitenbach, Jack Wyborn, Malcolm Coates and Matt Hoyland.
Yeah, very, very busy stuff there out on track throughout the whole thing. A lot of wet weather for the drivers to compete with, and a lot of treacherous conditions that eventually meant that, of course, a number of them did not finish. Let's get some music on, if I can find the right playlist on Spotify, because it's been doing my head in at the moment. There we go. So, we'll see who we've got to speak to. Well, why would we not? Why would we not speak to Fraser Smith? Fraser, welcome to the box, mate. You must be buzzing with that, because it was not easy. We spent 90% of the night watching cars go off the circuit. You must be delighted to have made it look so easy in the wet. I bet it wasn't, though.
Far from it, honestly. And all day I've been coming down with the flu, and I was like, I can't be bothered to race, but I had to do it. And yeah, I just managed to. I think I knew going into that race, if you can just keep it pointing forwards, you'll be doing all right. And the corner hog pen every time. I don't know if you saw in qualifying, I crashed there, and every time I came around, I was just like walking on eggshells there.
I was going to say there was a number of people that just going up the hill, as soon as they touched the brakes, the cars just went left and hit that wall so hard. We lost so many cars to just doing that, braking in a straight line. I imagine as soon as you have one little twitch, your confidence just goes completely, doesn't it, from that corner then on?
Yeah, I mean, there's a few corners where you can get away with it, but they're like hog pen, especially like the last corner. If it snaps on you there, you're never saving it. So I was just when I had Tristan behind me, I just knew where to defend really and just tried to just manage it.
I was going to say, once you got the move done, it seemed like you were able to break away, but there were a few laps where it looked like Tristan was going to be a threat again, didn't there? So it was good to see the race go back and forth like that.
Yeah, it's brilliant. He was really quick. There's a part of it, I think, like psychologically, once you get to the front, you know that you're not chasing someone. So I didn't want to crash. But yeah, I can't complain. I'm over the moon, really.
I was going to say, your season has started very well in the first 4 race meetings. We're getting to the halfway point, going to Long Beach next time. How are you feeling about that one?
I will just try and survive, to be honest with you. I've found out that I'm not going to be able to race at Imola, so my drop score is a big 0. So I need to try and be consistent, really. Yeah,
making the most of the ones that you're at. Well, either way, Fraser, great to see another fantastic performance. Is there anyone you'd like to give a thanks to before we let you go?
Yeah, I know my dad's watching, Grace is watching, and a few of my mates are watching as well. And thanks to you and Ed for doing the broadcast.
Thank you very much, Fraser. Great to speak to you. Well done, mate, and we'll let you go and dry off.
Thanks, mate. See
you later. Well, Fraser, very much in control of that one, Ed, and it certainly seems like he was confident with it as well. But, just... I don't even have words, just very formal, a formal result, I think. It's very tidy, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's almost like it was just an easy race for him. He comes in just very nonchalant and then, move on to the next one, which is, I guess, the right attitude to have if you're to make something of the championship. But yeah, great day in the office for Fraser Smith.
So now we come face to face with a gentleman and we can finally ask him how on God's earth we actually pronounce his name, whether it is Water or Water or Wouter. However, Laurent van der something is with us in the commentary box. Laurent, great to have you. First off, how are you and how do you feel like that went? Because you got a hell of a result out of it.
Hey, thanks for having me. First of all, it's Laurens.
Laurens, not Laurent.
Yeah. Yeah, Laurent is more French.
Yeah.
With a T in the end.
I thought it may be. I thought maybe. So it's not even that bit that we've got wrong, is it?
Yeah, and water, it's the English one, it's water. It's more flat.
Like Wouter almost.
Yeah.
Okay.
Indeed.
Okay, we'll try and remember that. We'll forget by next week. Either way, though, I mean, you were in the water tonight and having a great time out there, weren't you? Those conditions look treacherous, but you seem to revel in them.
Yeah, I'm really in my element in the water, it seems. I don't know.
Quite
it has
literally.
been so for a couple of years when I did wet races. Results were very good that I can fight with people who, in the dry, I mean, they're like 20 seconds ahead of me. Now I was fighting with them, even stuck behind them. I tried to not be too aggressive in overtaking or attempting to overtake because these guys were from a different class. So it was kind of pointless to, it was more like for my own prestige, let's say, to maybe finish top 3. But it was way too dangerous, especially in the end. I was behind Ryan Otten. He was swerving from left to right from time to time. I decided let's take some distance, because otherwise I'll end up lost, probably.
I was going to say it's very much a race of assessing the risk all the way through. No matter who you're battling against, you have to think just be on your toes the whole time. But you made it work. It's been a bit of an up and down start to your championship, of course. But how are you feeling after nearly getting to the halfway point so far?
Yeah, currently I'm feeling very good. I know the opportunity is there to get like top 5 maybe in my class. But yeah, let's say the first race, second race, a lot of incidents happened. Unfortunately, I was in between them, or in it, rather. So I threw away a lot of points that way. But now, luckily I could take P1, which will give me quite some points, I think.
Yeah, definitely. A big haul of points from tonight. Is there anyone you'd like to give a quick shout out to while we've got you in the booth?
Yeah, to Branko Kapovic, also a fellow racer. I didn't see him tonight. Very sad.
Yeah, isn't he a Croatian driver?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Croatian.
Yeah, I was going to say there were a few names tonight that we didn't see out there tonight, with just the 31 cars as opposed to the CPU destroying 58 cars that we had at the start of the season. But still, we hope to see him back very soon and hope to see you again as well, Laurens. Thank you very much for joining us, mate, and well done on the result.
Yeah, thanks, and thank you for your time.
Cheers, you too.
Yep.
Laurens van der Wouter. We're going to go with that. We're going to try it. We're going to try it for the rest of the season. We'll make it work somehow. Somebody else that was hoping to make it work somehow tonight still finished the race with great determination. Alex Fretwell in the McLaren. Alex, welcome to the booth, mate. You must hate wet weather. It never seems to work out for you, does it?
I think Zolder was still on for the win, bar some other sort of incidents outside my control. Tonight, it's been a struggle. All week, obviously, trying to intertwine it with some Daytona practice. I had pace last night, but it was lethal. So I tried to back some pace out of it and keep things a bit more safe. And then the conditions tonight were just impossible. They were changing every lap. I need to go back and look at what happened at the end of the back straight, but it felt like I'd sort of positioned it the same as every other lap, and things had moved about a bit. And that was, I think that used my fast repair, and then the second incident was just a silly little incident in the double right before the back straight, and then as soon as I touched the grass, it just wasn't stopping. So clipped the wall with the left front. And at that point, it was 6 minutes of repairs, but I just have to sort of stay within 4 or 5 laps. I think I was pretty much on the limit of how far I could drop behind to get the 75%. So, but best case scenario, this is my drop round, and if not, and I have a shocker somewhere else, I'll take the points from tonight.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's been interesting to see the determination from you, and that's one of the best character aspects to have as a driver in a series like this. It's definitely character building indeed, but to see your determination to carry on despite the conditions was great. Is there anyone you'd like to give a quick shout out to, Alex, before we wrap up for the evening?
Anyone who can get that McLaren around this track in the wet. Honestly, it's so hard. I've put so much work in this week, and I don't want to say it's been pointless, because I think it could have been a lot worse. But this is one of the hardest things I've ever had to do, which is why I wanted to get to the end of it. It's a few points on the board. I did see quite a few people disconnected in that, so I don't think it's been as bad as it probably looked. But just massive challenge, and quite happy to have completed it, even if I missed 4 laps.
Well, it's great to speak to you either way, Alex, and great to hear your account of things. Thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see you next time out at Long Beach.
Yep. Thanks, guys. See you later.
Cheers. Alex Fretwell there, again, having a tough time in the McLaren tonight, Ed, but, those points at the end of the season could come in handy, considering that, he pushed as hard as he could to be within that 75% to still be classified as finishing the race.
Yeah, it's all about the perseverance, really, at the end of the day, and if you're not willing to get it over the line at every single opportunity, you're not really going to have your whole heart in the championship. And it's the drivers that really want to put in that extra mile tend to reap the rewards come the end of the season. But credit to Alex for, I think persevering is the right word, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. Perseverance is definitely key, and that's exactly what got Fraser Smith that victory this evening. His persistence in the wet weather has just been second to none. Tristan Dinnebrager in second, a great result for him, and also Luke King, while Laurens van der Wouter, we'll get it right, manages to take victory in the Pro class. That's all for tonight, though, in the Evolution Sim Racing GT3 Championship. Thanks once again to Kame, GP2 Group and Keenan Eco Energy. Thanks to all the drivers, all the organisers, and of course Ed May joining me, Chaz Draycott, in the commentary box. Thanks all for watching, and we'll see you again at Long Beach in a week's time. And look at Jochen Hahn and Antonio Albacete. The two of them go flying through the right-hand side, then the left-hand side. Jochen Hahn around the outside, and Lucas Hahn, no father and son, come together on the exit of turn 1.
And the best thing about this is the fact that it's still a 15-minute sprint race. They've not extended the time of the race. It's still just like, it's going to be, 7 laps as well.
We get to the real nitty-gritty of motorsport. Cranstone and Smith are side by side for the title in the very final race of the season. As they go back up the hill towards the Schumacher end, Nils Kor clips the back at 10, Simon Povey clips the side of Nils Kor. They go over the hill and Povey's around. Oh my god, that's going to definitely be the thumbnail when it hit me in the right direction. Thank you so much.
23 cars.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.